Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, The Intersection. In this video, I'll show you how to create my SQL database, how to name the MySQL database, how to then design the MySQL database for your project, and then create a table and add a one record at least, and then create a form and then link or bind that form to the database. And then we will use a grid view to display the data in the database, and we will add a details view to insert more value to the database. Let's start. Let me show you my table, what should look like first. The database name will be any college. The table that I will create, I will name it TBL faculty listings, and the table will consist of faculty ID, first name, last name, department name, office number, phone number, email, and course ID. I will only add this row. The rest of the rows we will use the whip. We will use the insert details view to insert the rest of these rows. The data type and the type of each column. The column faculty ID will be an integer, and it's the primary key, and will be an auto number. The first name, last name, department name, they will be required. They will be in varchar, and the size 150, and the department name will be 50, the size 50, and it's also be required. Now the office number and the phone number, I made them not required because maybe this college will hire a faculty member, but they don't have an office for them yet. And they don't have a phone number. If they don't have an office, they don't have a phone number. So these two are not required. The email is required because every time we hire a faculty member, we give them an email. We assign them an email automatically. So the assumption is they should have an email. The course ID that you see here, this column, that will be a foreign key. So if I add the courses on another table, I will use the foreign key to link them. And speaking of foreign keys and primary keys, a primary key constraint is a column or a group of columns. You can have multiple columns to be the primary keys, and they are uniquely identified. They are uniquely identified every row. So if I know the faculty ID, then I should know everything about this row just by knowing the primary key. The foreign key on this table, it doesn't have to be unique, but it has to match because the foreign key is a primary key in another table. So it has to match the primary key on the courses table when we create the courses table. So let's open Visual Studio and start the process. Click on Create New Project. In the new project, make sure, if you haven't worked on this before, to make sure that you are creating an ASP.NET web application. And this class, this session, this semester, we're using ASP.NET web applications. We're not using the core. So highlight that and click Next. And then when you get to this dialog box, you'll have to give your project a name and your solution name. I always like to start with the solution, so I can then have a different name for the project. If you type the project name here, let's say if we want to name this proj_01, then the solution will be the same name. So I don't like to have the same name for the project and the solution because I always add other projects to the same solution. So I want them to be different. So let's call our solution to be database 1. Let me change its location. Click Create, then select an empty web form, and then a web form, and then click Create. And here's my Solution Explorer, solution name database_01 that I named it that way. And here's my project. Let's close this welcome page and let's add database. Now, if you're using a older version of Visual Studio, this app data folder is not included in your solution within the project. So you need to add this manually. So if you don't have it here, then you can just right click and then click Add, and then ASP.NET folder, and then select it. We have it already, so that's why it's grayed out. So if we don't have it, that's how you add it. So now let's add our SQL database. We right click on the app data, add a new item, and the new item we are going to add is SQL database. Let me change its name. Change its name to any college, any underscore college.mdf. Let's click on add. Takes about a second or two, and then it'll add it within your app data folder. So now let's open the any underscore college.mdf database. So we're going to select the Server Explorer. If you don't have the Server Explorer, if it's closed, then you can always go to the view, and here's the Server Explorer. So click on that and it will open for you. The shortcut is Control Alt S. So here's my database, any college. Of course, it's locked out. So let's unlock it. And here's the folders where the tables will go. So right click on your table, add a new table. And here is the database management system where I would have to define my columns. Let's first change the table name. So I'm changing it here. And as soon as I do that, you can notice that the name changed here also. Let me close the Solution Explorer for a second so we can have a better view. So the first name, the first column will be as I showed at the beginning. The first column will be the faculty ID. Second column will be first name, last name, department name, office number, phone number, email, and course ID. So the first one will be faculty ID, and that's our primary key. Faculty ID is an integer data type, and it has to be the primary key automatically. It's a primary key. If you're using an older versions of Visual Studio, then you have to assign that as a primary key. But in newer versions, 19 and probably in the future, it's always the primary key is done. You can remove that if you don't want it to be the primary key. But we're going to keep it. We're going to right click and then go to the property and make it an auto number. So we're going to make this an auto number. So how do we do it? We go to the property, and then in the property we click on the identity specifications, and then open the is identity. You can then select it to be true from here, or just double click. So that will make that primary key will be an auto number. We don't need the property anymore, so we're going to close that. And then now the second column is our first name, and the first name will be data type is in varchar 150. So the first name will be in varchar 150, and it is required. Let's go back to our Visual Studio. First name. So here's the data type. We're going to change it to in varchar, and then change its size 150, and we're going to make it require. So we're going to remove that. Then last name in varchar 150, and I'm going to change it right here. So you can see that you can make the changes in two ways. And then we're going to make this is required. I'm going to continue with the others. I filled in all of my the rest of my columns, and you notice that I made the first name, the last name, and the department name required. So I removed the check for allowing nulls. The primary key is automatically does not allow nulls. And notes the office number and the phone number are not required, just in case we don't have, we haven't allocated office space, and we haven't given them a phone number because the phone number is associated with the office space. That's our assumption in this case. The email is required because we always give them emails right away. This is a foreign key. Foreign key is not required because we may not have courses yet assigned. So we interviewed these faculty to teach with us, say in the spring, and they will not be teaching until the winter. So there is no courses yet assigned to them. So we don't have courses assigned or associated with this faculty member. So these are all the columns. Now I have to fill at least one value. And if you notice in my example here, all right, I have the first value assigned first name admin, last name admin, information technology, and the office of the admin and the phone number of the admin. But there's no actual name here. So we usually add a column like this for like a template, and then when we start filling our data, our table, we remove or delete that. But you have to have it. You have to have at least one record. We need to update it first. So we're gonna click on the update, and this is a JavaScript runs in to update the instance of that table. I click on Update Database, and as soon as I do this, it's updated. So if we don't see it here yet, just click on refresh. And here is your table. Right-click on the table, and let's add our first values. Show table data. And you'll notice the first column is null because that's our primary key, and we set it to be an auto number. So the first name will be admin, and last name is admin, and the department information technology, office number, and the phone, and the email. And he is not teaching, so I'm not going to assign him anything in the foreign key. And again, remember, we will delete this value. As soon as I finished my row, then I click on the second row. I forgot to set the foreign key to be null. So let's go back to our table definition. And remember, the course ID is a foreign key, and it has to be null. Can't allow to put any values in there. So let's go back and let's update our database and update it. Once we update, we go back to our table data, and then here's now it's going to be, it should be allowing null. It allows null. All right, so I have to have at least one value, and I did that. Now let's close and open our Explorer and add our form. Right click, add a new item, or you can just like go and select web form at the bottom. But we're gonna click add new item, and it's a web form, and let's give it a name. Click add, and here's our first web form. Let's go to the design. Now let's go to our toolbox, click on our data and select GridView, and then connect your GridView to the database and the SQL source for the any college. Make sure it's SQL. Select your database. All right, so click next. Connection string, let's use the table name for that. Table faculty listings dot connection string, that's unique enough. Click next. We have only one table, so that's the table that's selected. We're going to click on the Advanced tab, check Generate, Insert, Update, and Delete. Click OK, click Next. You can always view your first row. Here's my first row, and that looks OK. Click Finish, and that is my grid. I can view that. Right-click, view in the browser. And here's my first row on my grid view. Admin. Let me just do some CSS so I can make this look a little bit presentable, and I'll show it to you one more time. I added some CSS and structured the page a little bit so it looks okay on our video. Now what I will do is I will show you how to create the details view so we can insert more data on the web instead of using Microsoft SQL. Let's do that, but before that, let me just like make some of these headings look presentable. So we're gonna go to the index.aspx first. So click on the grid view, click on the smart tag, and edit columns. And the faculty ID, I don't want to show that, so I will remove it. Then the first name, I will remove the underscore from each one of these. And I don't want to show the course ID either, so I'm going to take that off. And they will look nice on the column names. So I will start with the first one here and go to the header text and just remove that underscore. Do the second one and just remove the underscore, and finish all of them changing the header text property. I'm sorry, the header text property value. So I changed all of them. Here is the last name, no underscore. Here is the department, the office, and the email and the phone number. All right, let's now view it one more time. Here's before we made the changes. So we will refresh, and now they look a little bit nicer, a little bit cleaner. Okay, so now let's add the details view. I want to add another form. Right click on the project, add a new item. It's going to be a web form, and I will name it insert.aspx. Click add. Here's my insert. I want to structure this page like the index page, so I'm going to pause and do this on the other side. So here's the structured page, the insert.aspx, insert.aspx, not insert.aspx.aspx. And it looks like that now because I linked the same CSS that I created. I will add my details view, not grid view. I'll change that because that's from the other page, but we want to add the details view to this insert page. So let's do that. So let's use the design, and here's my data, and here's my details view. I'll double click on it. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to connect it to my SQL connection string. So I'm going to click new data source SQL. Let's call this insert, and then click, make sure it's SQL is going to select it. Click OK. Now we're going to link it to the faculty listing because that's what we want to add our data to the faculty listing. And then click next. Then select the advanced, and then check generate, insert, update, and delete statements. Click OK, and then next, and then finish. By default, the details view read only, so we have to change it to the mode of inserting values. So we are going to click on it, then right click, go to the property, and then change it from read only to the insert mode. So it's the read only. We're going to click and change it to insert. And then we're done with the property. Now we can create the insert and update buttons using the smart tag and enable inserting. Once I do that, you see those links are now available for me. So when I insert a value, then I click on the insert and it will update my SQL database. So let's go back to our index and create a link to insert.aspx page, add a hyperlink button and format it. So we're going to right click and go to the property. And in the property, we will change the text. Instead of saying hyperlink, we will change it to insert more data, and then navigate URL or taking it to the insert.aspx. Then click OK. So I'm going to close that. Now I am going to open this page on the browser. Here it is open. So we want to click on the insert mode. And now the insert mode is available to me because I changed it to the insert mode. So let's add our names, our first name. So if I click on insert, it's inserted. I'll show you how to navigate back to the other page automatically. But let's go back this way and refresh. And here's Tracy. Let's add one more value. Insert. I added the value. Click on the insert. It's already inserted. If we go back this way and do refresh, and there our third record is inserted. Let me change the headings and then show you how to navigate automatically to this page once you insert it here. Let's not insert anything. I'm going to close and go back to the insert page, and let's change those columns. On fields. And now I don't want to show the faculty ID because it's an auto number. But in this case here, I want to show the course ID because in case I want to add the course ID foreign key. And I'm going to leave that. I'm going to change these column headings. So again, we go to the header text and then remove the underscore. So I changed all the header text and now they look like that. I'm going to cascade my details view, and I'll come back to you on the other side. Here's my insert details view looks like after I applied some CSS. Now let me show you when I click on the insert, when I insert a value, it goes back to the home page. So I don't have to go backward every time I want to see what I added. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So please pay attention to this process. I'm back into the insert design view. Let me close the Solution Explorer. There is no need for that. There's no need for the the Server Explorer and the Solution Explorer. So I'm going to right click on the details view and go to the property, and then in the property invoke or select the events, and on the item inserted, past tense, not inserting, inserted. So this is after the fact. After you click, you want to insert it. So after the fact, double click on the item inserted, and then go to the function of the item inserted and type in response.redirect, and then the page that you want to redirect to it. So let's do that, and make sure this is you're redirecting from the insert.aspx.css. Once you've done that, now let's test it. Here is the home page of the whole of our project. Let's click on insert more data, and let's insert more data into the grid view. And then once we insert the data, we're going to click insert, and that will take us back to the home page. So let's do that. And I can now click on the insert and navigate me here, and I see Adam Smith. So that's the end of this video. I will add another table and link them using the foreign key, and I will add more data to the database. So I'll see you in the next video. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel so you can get all the updates. Thank you and have a beautiful day. Bye bye now.